Assalamualaikum class. So today we are going to do Unit 1 Quadratic Equation, SLO D, which is middle term break, and this is part 1. And so up till now what we have been doing is basically we had these kind of terms and we basically multiplied this with this and then we multiplied 2x with all of this, and so we expanded it. Now what we are going to do is basically we are going to do opposite of it. Now for this, first we have to identify. So the question one is identify which of the following algebraic terms. Sorry, so it's not terms, it should be expressions. So these are expressions. Algebraic expressions are in factorized or in expanded form. So basically मैंने ये identify करना है कि ये क्या factorized है या expanded form में है. So anything factorization की निशानी क्या होती है कि things are actually multiplying या basically वो brackets form में होते हैं. So अगर मैं इधर देखूं, so this is not in bracket form, so it's not factorized, it's basically in expanded form, and so we will say it's expanded. Now, if we look at B, we see that this is basically in brackets form, and so this is basically factorized. Similarly, in case of C, what I want you to do is basically figure out if it's factorized or is in expanded form for each of these. So if we talk about C, we have 2x plus 3y whole square. We can also write it like this. So that's a square. So that means these are, and this bracket is multiplying by itself. And so this is also in bracket form. So this is also factorized. Now, if we talk about question D, we can clearly see that there are no brackets involved and nothing is multiplying. So it's in expanded form, and part E is basically again in brackets. So this is factorized. So now we know what's an expanded form and what is a factorized form. Now in question 2, what we have to basically do is we have to use middle term break. And we have to factorize. So this is the verb, this is the action that is actually that I have to perform. Factorize the following quadratic expressions. So these are the expressions, and I have to basically middle term break them and get them into brackets form. So this question is saying get this in the bracket form. Now, if I look at this, I can see that y squared plus 6u minus 227. So what I do is that I take minus 27 and I write down possible combination of two numbers that gives me 27. So that's 1 into 27. That's 3 into 9. And these are basically it. So it's going to repeat. So this is enough. And one of these values will be minus, and we will see why. So these two numbers basically when multiplied gives me 27. Now I have to figure out which of these combinations gives me 6u if I add them. So 1 plus 27, that gives me 28, and if I minus it I get 26. So there is no way that this can be the combination. If we look at 3 into 9, so 3 plus 9, that gives me a 12, but if I minus 3 minus 9, so that gives me a 6, and so this is what I need here. So I will write u square, and I'm not going to write the signs in this case. What I'm going to write is just 3 and 9u. So 3u and 9u, and minus 27 comes as it is. Okay, so now I have to figure out what will be the sign of 3u and what will be the sign of 9u. So we see that this is a plus, and so if they're going to add up, so we cannot have a plus and a plus because that will result in a 12, and we need to minus it. So we need to minus 9 from 3. So plus sign will be with 9 because I want the plus 6, and minus 3 will be 3u, and if I add these I get 6u again. And so this is the time. So this is step 1, which is basically called middle term break. Okay, now step 2 is to take common. Now u is common here, u is common here, so I write u outside. There is 2u, and so 1 is left. There is minus, and there is a 3, and this u is taken outside, so there is nothing left there. So this is it. And in this case 9 is common. So how do I know? So 9 into 1, that gives me a 9, and so 27 is given by 9 into 3. So plus 9 is equal to u. So 9 is outside, so I can't write 9. And so plus minus, so that's a minus. And so which number when multiplied by 9 will give me 27? And that's 3. And so essentially what you know is basically this bracket and this bracket needs to be same. And so if you see this, that means that you're doing this question right. And so step 3 is basically the terms that are outside of the bracket, I join them. So u comes here and plus 9 comes here. And I put it in a bracket. And then I write one of these brackets. Anyone. They're same essentially. So basically, this is the factorized form that we are looking for when it says to factorize. If we do another example, t square minus 16t plus 63. So what I want you to do is pause this video and try to solve this factorizer, get it into this bracket forms using middle term break. And once you're done, resume it, and I will be doing it for you. And so you can compare your answer with mine. So I'm going to resume after 3, 2, and 1. So we have t square minus 16t plus 63. So I have to find two numbers that gives me 60, when multiplied gives me 63, and when added gives me 16. So what I have to do is basically I will write 63 here, and I'm going to write possible combinations of numbers that give me 63 when multiplied. So 1 into 63 gives me 63. So it cannot be divided by 2. So 2 is not an option. 3, yes. And so 3, if multiplied by 21, it gives me 63. But if I add it or minus it, I don't get 16. So essentially, these two are not the values I'm looking for. So next is basically 7 into 9. So if I add them, so if I add these, I do get a 16, right? So there it is, the 16. So I got the two numbers. This is the combination I'm looking for. So I write t as it is, t square. And so I have to break this into 7 and 9. So I write 7t and 9t. I don't write the signs first because I need to figure out if what will be the signs be. And plus 63 comes as it is. And so if I have a plus and a plus, that gives me a plus 16t. So that's not possible. So I need a minus 70 and then a minus 90. If I add them, so that's 7 plus 9, 16. And there's minus with both of them. So that's a minus. And so we have done step 1. And now we have to do step 2, which is basically to take common from this term and from these terms. So first term and second term common is t square है, 2t है तो बाहर आएगा तो 80 रह जाएगा, माइनस 70 80 है बाहर आएगा, कोई t नहीं रहेगा, पीछे माइनस 7 रह जाएगा. 9 और 63 में if I 9 के टेबल में 63 आता है, so I can take 9 common, so that will be minus 9, and that will be t 9 बाहर आ गया. And 6, what number am I going to multiply with 9 that gives me 63, and that's basically 7. And so that's minus, and I need to get a plus whenever it multiplies with 7. I need to get plus 63, so that should be a minus as well. And so these two brackets are same, and so I'm doing this right. Now I'm going to just combine the terms that are outside of the brackets. That's t minus 9 bracket, and t, I'm going to write this one of these brackets together. And so we have done, we have actually factorized quadratic equations using middle term break. Thank you. Okay, sorry. So I forgot to mention this part, that these question and this, there's always a one, the coefficient of square variable is 1. In this case t square के साथ 1 है, u के साथ 1 है. So this is the steps for these kind of expressions. Thank you.